We were packing for a weekend trip. Sun hats, juice boxes, my daughter's stuffed giraffe. The last thing I expected to find in the mailbox was a small black memory card. No note, no envelope, just the words "Play Me" scratched into the plastic with something sharp. I almost tossed it until I slid it into my laptop and saw what was on it. In a matter of seconds, everything I knew about my family, my past, and myself began to unravel. It was a warm Friday morning in late September. My wife Amina was buckling our daughter Layla into the car seat when I grabbed the mail. Bills, flyers, junk. Then, the card. So small I nearly missed it, taped to the underside of our mailbox lid. I held it up. "Weird," I muttered. "What is it?" Amina asked. "A memory card. No return address. Just play me." She frowned. "Creepy. Probably a prank." But something about it felt urgent. A buzzing in my chest. We decided to delay the trip an hour. I plugged it into my laptop. And that's when everything changed. One file. "You need to see this." I hesitated before clicking. The video opened to a shaky handheld recording. Dim lighting, flickering fluorescent bulbs. A room, sparse, institutional. A voice whispered behind the camera. "This is from room 302. Subject was held here for 5 years." Then, the camera shifted, and I froze. There, sitting on a thin mattress, arms around her knees, was my sister, Aliyah. The same sister we buried 6 years ago. Aliyah disappeared when she was brilliant, headstrong, a journalism student chasing corruption stories. The police ruled it a suicide. We never saw her body, just a cremation certificate delivered after a supposed accident during an off-campus trip. Our parents never spoke of her again. We mourned in silence, buried an empty urn. But there she was, on the screen, alive, breathing. Eyes hollow, but unmistakably hers. And the timestamp was dated just 7 months ago. I paused the video. My hands trembled. Amina stepped closer. "That's Aliyah, isn't it?" "It can't be. She's dead. We buried her." "But you didn't see her." My heart raced. I clicked play again. The voice continued. She uncovered the truth about the Rahmani Foundation, about what they're really doing behind closed doors. They made her disappear. I rewound the clip, paused, zoomed into the corner. A logo on the wall. Rahmani Institute Westward. I knew that name. Everyone in our community did. They were the shining beacon of charity and education. They funded scholarships, built orphanages, paid for hospitals, and Aliyah had once tried to expose them. Before her death, Aliyah had written an expose, claimed that the Rahmani Foundation was exploiting undocumented immigrants, that they were using mental health programs as a front to run unethical experiments, that people were disappearing. The article was taken down within days. She was branded unstable. Her school expelled her, and days later, she vanished. We believed what they told us, that she cracked, that she drowned herself in the river. And now, she was here, trapped in a room with padded walls. There was a second file on the memory card, titled Exit Plan. It contained blueprints of a building, hallways, security points, an address, coordinates linked to a Rahmani Rehabilitation Center on the outskirts of town, and a message. "This is where she is. If you wait, she won't survive another winter. You need to decide who you're willing to be now." I looked at Amina. "What do I do?" She placed her hand over mine. "We go." I didn't tell my parents. Didn't call the police. Too many questions. Too many years of silence. We dropped Layla at Amina's sister's house. I drove through the night. The facility looked peaceful. White stone walls, garden beds, a polished sign. Rahmani Center for Healing and Growth. It felt fake. Too perfect. I walked to the front desk. A woman smiled. Calm. Too calm. "How can we help you today?" "I'm here to check on a family member." "Name?" "Aliyah Hassan." A pause. A flicker in her expression. Then a smile again. "I'm sorry, we have no patient by that name." As I turned to leave, a janitor brushed past, slipped something into my coat pocket. He didn't look at me. I stepped outside and opened it. I tore an index card. Scrawled in pen. "She's in the West Wing, room 302. Staff change at 1:30 a.m. Use loading dock." And on the back, "If you're reading this, it means you still believe she's worth saving." At 1:27 a.m., I circled to the rear. The loading dock was dimly lit. No guards. I slipped through the side door, walked the hallway in silence, turned left, right, down. I paused, took a breath, opened the door, and there she was. Aaliyah sat on the bed, thinner than I remembered, pale, hair cropped short. She looked up, her eyes widened. Tariq, it's me. She stood slowly, stumbled. I caught her. She sobbed into my chest. They said you forgot me, that you stopped asking. I never did. Then why didn't you come? Because I thought you were dead. She pulled back. They told everyone that, didn't they? Why are you still here? Because I remember everything, and they can't let that happen. We slipped out through the service hallway, made it back to the car. Aaliyah sat in the back, wrapped in a blanket. She didn't speak for a long time. Then she whispered, there are others, still in there. How many? Dozens, maybe more. They're not just silencing people, they're reprogramming them. Why? She looked me dead in the eyes. Because we know who they really are, and they're not done yet. When I brought Aaliyah home that night, I thought the hard part was over. That we had done the impossible, rescued the dead, reunited a family. But I was wrong. Because the memory card wasn't just a cry for help. It was a breadcrumb, the beginning of a trail that led straight into a nest of secrets and names. Names they'd do anything to keep buried. Aaliyah couldn't sleep for days. Every creak of the floorboards made her flinch. Every shadow sent her heart racing. She barely spoke to our parents. When she finally did, our father collapsed to his knees. I thought I failed you, he whispered. I thought I let them take you. She didn't answer, just held his hand, silent. Amina and I tried to make her feel safe, but she was different now. Shaped by isolation, by the knowledge of things no one was supposed to know. 4 days after she returned, Aaliyah woke us at midnight. There's something you need to see. She held a second flash drive. I managed to smuggle this out. It's not just me they were watching. We plugged it into my laptop. Inside, a folder named Lantern. Encrypted. Julian, the same contact who gave me the safe house map, decrypted it remotely. What we found inside was devastating. Over 200 people labeled as non-compliant, potentially disruptive, emotionally contagious, victims of displacement, whistleblowers, children from shelters, refugees under the care of Rahmani's outreach programs, all coded with statuses, relocated, silenced, under reprogramming, terminated. Next to each a photo, an ID number, a brief behavioral profile. At the very top, S01 Aliyah Hassan, status Adawal, threat level high. Amina gasped. They were cataloging people, not helping them. This is a hit list, I whispered. Buried at the bottom of the file was a map, a remote village, forest edge, a building marked Grove School, special dormitory access. Aliyah zoomed in. This was one of their feeder programs. They told the girls they were being offered scholarships. And then they disappeared. We stared at each other. We have to go there, Amina said. It's too dangerous, I warned. But how many are still waiting to be found? Aliyah looked up. If we don't find them, no one will. It took us 2 hours to reach the Grove School. Abandoned, rusted gates, ivy curling over shattered windows. But the special dormitory building had motion lights still working. Julian had given us a key fob that bypassed Rahmani-issued security. It worked. Inside, rows of bunk beds, journals half-written, dolls with missing eyes. Time had stopped here. And then, we found the basement hatch. The same design as the one where I found Aliyah. We descended. Underground, a surveillance hub, flickering monitors. Some black, some showing empty rooms, others still active. Live feeds. One room showed a girl, maybe 15, sitting on a cot, humming. Another, a young boy drawing circles on the wall. Aliyah gasped. These kids, they never left. They're still down here. We scanned for controls, found a file cabinet with paper records, dozens of folders. Each stamped Project Lantern. One folder had Layla's name. I grabbed the file, flipping through. There was a photo of our daughter Layla at school. A note attached. Phase 2 candidate. Parent link to subject S01 makes child ideal for long-term observation. Monitor maternal behavior post-reintegration. I couldn't breathe. Amina stared in horror. They'd been watching us this whole time. She was never safe. No one was. Aliyah turned slowly. They're not just silencing the loud ones, they're conditioning the next ones. Layla's just a child, I said. So we're the others. Julian radioed in. You have 20 minutes. I intercepted chatter. Someone's been alerted to your presence. We gathered as many folders as we could carry. Aaliyah copied the hard drives. Amina held the file with Layla's name like it was a grenade. We climbed back out, but just before we reached the car, a black van turned the corner. Men in uniforms stepped out. Aaliyah grabbed my arm. They're here for the data. They won't let us go. I looked at the flash drives, the list, the faces, the truth. We couldn't let it be erased again. I handed the files to Amina. Drive. Don't stop. Go to Julian. What about you? I'll distract them. Give you time. Tariq, go. She kissed me hard. Aaliyah climbed in with her. I turned to face the van. Men in black approached, hands on their radios. One of them looked at me and smiled. Where is she? Don. Wrong answer. And then a gunshot echoed across the trees. When the bullet rang out, it didn't just pierce the silence. It shattered everything. Our sense of safety, our illusion of normal, our hope that justice could come quietly. Tariq stood between truth and the people who wanted it buried. And now I didn't know if he was alive or if they had taken him too. We didn't stop driving. The tires screeched as I pulled onto the main road, leaving Tariq behind at the Grove School Sewells. Beside me, Aaliyah was shaking, eyes wide, clutching the flash drives like they were breathing. They shot him, she whispered. No, he's smart. He knew what he was doing. He told us to run, but my hands trembled against the wheel because I had no idea if my husband was still alive. Julian met us at a safe house on the city's edge. A basement with 6 padlocks, no windows, and a room lined with old servers. We don't have much time, he said. If they trace the stolen files, you'll both be flagged. He plugged in the drives. Dozens of names, medical files, surveillance footage, mind mapping protocols. Julian's voice shook for the first time. This is bigger than I thought. You didn't just grab names. You grabbed architecture. They have the blueprint for behavioral programming here. That's why they'd kill to get it back, Aaliyah said. Julian set up a live drop to whistleblower websites, investigative journalists, and several data leak servers. We waited, sweating. Amina sat on the floor watching Layla's file load onto the screen. They would have taken her. No, Aaliyah said. They still might. At exactly 3:00 a.m., the files went live. Within minutes, comments, reposts, and mirror links exploded. Screens lit up with headline. Romani Foundation accused of covert human experimentation. Whistleblower, 2,000 Plestov named an underground reprogramming project. One family's discovery could take down $1 billion empire. We had done it. We had pulled the curtain back. But the celebration was brief. Tariq still hadn't called. His phone was dead. Police wouldn't help. We couldn't risk telling them everything. So we waited. Then, at dawn, a text came to Julian's burner. Is not dead, taken, moved to holding. Who sent this? I asked. Unknown number, Julian said. Aaliyah grabbed the phone. Holding 6? That's the basement ward of the old Romani hospital. It's where they sent collapsed assets. People who knew too much. Amina felt the air leave her lungs. Then we're getting him out. While we prepared, chaos erupted on the news. Employees fled Romani campuses. Anonymous testimonials emerged online. A former nurse claimed children were conditioned with light and audio. A security guard leaked photos of underground pods. Protesters gathered outside Romani's main headquarters by noon. By evening, the CEO stepped down. But no one said a word about Tariq. And that silence was deafening. Julian handed us blueprints of the abandoned hospital. Holding 6 is 2 levels below ground. No windows, no power, just battery-run gates. And guards? Aaliyah asked. Fewer now. Most of the operatives have scattered, but those left behind, they're desperate. We packed flashlights, stolen keycards, 2 burner phones, and hope. Amina looked at Aaliyah. You okay? No, she said. But I'm ready. We arrived just after midnight. The hospital loomed. Vines choking the facade. Inside, broken furniture, the scent of mold and iron. We crept through the halls, found the elevator shaft, climbed down via rusted ladder. Reaching holding 6 felt like descending into memory itself. Every corner whispered with ghosts. Every echo sounded like Tariq's breath. In room 6B, we found him, strapped to a chair, barely conscious, pale, but breathing. Tariq, Amina gasped. He blinked, smiled weakly. You came. Of course I did. She wrapped her arms around him, sobbing. Aaliyah undid the straps. Julian scanned for files in the corner terminal. They recorded his conversations, injected him with beta blockers, tried to make him forget why he came. Did it work? Aaliyah asked. Tariq coughed. Not even close. As we prepared to leave, a voice called softly, "Don't forget me." We turned. A figure stood in the neighboring room, hair silver, face half in shadow. Who? Amina began. They called me Oracle. What? She stepped closer, eyes sharp. I helped build this. I built Lantern. Julian stiffened. Dr. Miriam Hartman? Yes. Amina froze. You're the one who started it. No, she said. I'm the one who left it and waited for someone brave enough to finish it. She handed us a key. This opens the vault? The final names? The real archive? Julian whispered. We thought we had the list. She shook her head. That was just the beta tier. The elite files were kept separate, off-grid. Where? Amina asked. Somewhere they'll never think you'll go. She turned slowly and pointed at Tariq, because he's the vault. I always thought memories were things we carried, stories we told.
But what if they were placed inside us?
What if the final truth wasn't in a folder or a file, but buried deep in my own mind? That's what Miriam, the woman who helped build Lantern, said before the lights flickered. You are the vault. And the moment she said it, something inside me began to crack open. It started with a sharp pain behind my eyes. Not a headache, a pulse. Like a flashbulb going off in a room I didn't know existed. I collapsed to my knees. Amina caught me. Tariq? What's happening? He's triggering, Miriam said calmly. The memory lock is breaking. That's how we hid the archive. The master list, locations, donors, it's all encoded in his synaptic pathways. Julian stared at her. You encrypted confidential data inside his brain? We needed someone clean, someone outside the Foundation. He volunteered years ago. Everyone turned to me. What do you mean I volunteered? There's a year of my life I've never remembered. I told people it was a mental health thing. Burnout. Sleepwalking through jobs. But I never questioned it. Never really tried to fill in the gaps. Until now. Until flashes began to return. Cold rooms. White lights. Repeated questions. A woman whispering, "You're doing this for your daughter's future." And I said yes, over and over. Miriam knelt beside me. There's a neural node behind your left ear, a biometric fuse. It holds the activation code. So take it out, I gasped. We can't not without shutting down the host. If we extract it the wrong way, your brain won't survive. Amina's eyes widened. It has to be another way. There is, Miriam said. He has to remember it, all of it. In order, the moment he does, the system will unlock itself. But what happens after? Miriam's expression darkened. Once the code is active, Romani's final defense system will activate too. Which means, they'll know where he is. Julian checked his laptop. We'll have exactly 12 minutes to decrypt and upload the archive before Romani's trackers close in. 12 minutes? Amina said. To release every name, every file, every cover-up? Yes. Aaliyah stepped forward. Then we do it together. What if I fail? I whispered. Amina took my hand. You won't. They strapped me into a neural recall chair. Same model they once used on reprogramming victims. Julian attached electrodes. Aaliyah readied the decryption tool. Miriam prepped a biometric receiver. The room dimmed. My eyes closed. And I fell into memory. I saw it all. The room where I signed the contract. The line of children waiting for reassignment. The donor list. Senators, CEOs, board members. The warehouse where they tested identity swaps. And the name behind it all. Project Lantern, Phase Omega. Director, Dr. Elias Qureshi. I knew that name. He was Miriam's mentor. A man thought dead. But he wasn't gone. He was running the next phase. And the final note in my memory was a number. A location. Omega 9, Cyprus Sector. Wake them before the harvest. I gasped awake. I'd have it. Julian began decrypting. It's real. All of it. Aaliyah uploaded documents, videos, scans of underground labs, children's names, assignment codes, transformation protocols. We need another 5 minutes. I stared at the screen. felt something shifting again in my mind, like something still locked. There's more. What? Amina asked. A second layer, under the code. Miriam turned sharply. You were chosen for dual key memory partition, which means there's another archive, I whispered, and it's deeper than the first. Julian's laptop beeped. Upload complete. Backup sent to 47 nodes. If they kill us now, the world still sees it. We exhaled. Then, the monitors turned red. A single word flashed. Fail-safe engaged. A countdown began. 60 Zarad. Julian panicked. What is that? Miriam's face turned pale. It's the Omega Protocol. If the second archive is accessed, it triggers a location wipe. Everyone associated with the vault is marked for termination. Amina turned. Tariq, what's in the second archive? And then my own voice echoed from the speakers. A recording I never made. If they reach this point, tell them the truth. I was never supposed to survive this. I always thought I knew who I was. A husband, a father, a brother. But in the final room, under the last layer of memory, I discovered something far more terrifying, and yet strangely freeing. I was never meant to survive this story. I was only meant to carry it, to deliver it, and then disappear. The room glowed red. Failsafe engaged. Time to termination. Julian stared at the flashing screen. It's tracking your vitals. It knows you've remembered everything. Miriam, pale and trembling, explained what she'd hidden for years. We embedded a neural self-erasure protocol, meant to protect the data from extraction. You volunteered. Why? Amina interrupted. Why would he ever agree to that? Miriam looked straight at me. Because his brother was one of the first children taken. Silence. I shook my head. No, I don't have a brother. She pulled out a small folder, faded, yellowed. Inside, a photo of two boys. One was me. The other a smaller, sickly version of myself. His name was Sammy. He was 5. He never made it past phase 1. The floodgates opened. Images flashed through my head. Holding Sammy's hand in an underground room, whispering stories to him when the lights went out. And the day they took him, they made me forget. They took the pain, replaced it with an empty year, a memory scar. But now I remembered everything. The experiments, the loss, the mission. I had agreed to become the vault, so no other family would live in silence again. Julian reached the second archive. Files labeled Phase Omega global sites, locations of secret facilities, bank transfers, donor signatures including names from world governments, intelligence networks, and humanitarian organizations. Proof that Romani was never alone. Miriam turned to me. You have 40 minutes. Once it hits 0, your memory will auto-dump and erase. All of it. But we got the files out, I said. Isn't that enough? Julian hesitated. No, the second archive, it's incomplete. What's missing? The biometric key to activate it globally, the key that lives in you. It was simple and impossible. If I activated the full archive, every site would be exposed. Thousands of victims might be saved. The Romani network would burn. But I would be erased, not killed, just blank. Memories gone, family forgotten, love lost. I turned to Amina. If I do this, I won't know you, or Layla. Her eyes filled with tears. But the world will. She took my hand. And I will remind you, even if I have to do it every single day. We made recordings, me reading Layla a bedtime story. A message to her on her 18th birthday. One for Amina for the morning she'd wake up beside a man who didn't remember how much he loved her. And one for myself, a whispered reminder, you chose this. Because love is not something you forget. It's something you give, even if it means letting go. Julian began the final sequence. Miriam stood beside me. You have 10 seconds. Once it starts, it can't be reversed. Then let's finish it. I placed my hand on the console. The scanner blinked green. A voice spoke. Biometric match confirmed. Tariq Sami Hassan. Phase Omega override initiated. The screen changed. Full global release in 3. For a moment, everything went still. Then, screens burst with maps, files, testimonies. Live streams lit up across the world. Whistleblower sites, journalists, advocates. Every single name, every child, every secret exposed. And me, I closed my eyes and forgot. He wakes at dawn, makes coffee, helps Layla pack her school bag, smiles at the woman who calls him her husband. She watches him gently, loving him in every moment, even the ones he doesn't remember. They call him the man who erased himself for justice. But we don't say that in our home. We say, he remembered us long enough to save the world, and that was enough. And maybe someday he'll remember again. But until then, we'll keep reminding him, what if the person who saved you didn't remember your name, but chose you anyway? Moral reflection. Some heroes don't wear masks or capes. They wear silence. They sacrifice memory, comfort, even self, to make sure truth is never forgotten. What did this final chapter teach you about sacrifice, identity, and what it truly means to love someone beyond memory? Share your thoughts in the comments.